Hello everyone, welcome to the most must-see YouTube channel in the galaxy. Welcome to
NotMovieHacks.
Speaking right now, as always, is Matt, and today I am soloing this video as I give you my top 10 movies of the year with 3 honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Lady Macbeth, which is a movie that came out, I think, in the summer, and it's a Scottish movie about a woman who we know very little about, goes into this rich aristocratic family, and slowly overthrows the patriarchy through more and more devious and malicious ways. It's a very good psychological drama. It's not really a thriller, but it does have thrillerish elements, and it gets very, very dark as the movie goes along. My second honorable mention is The Killing of Sacred Deer, and I am a huge Yorgos Lanthimos fan. He did movies like The Lobster, The Alps, and Dogtooth, and this was probably my most anticipated movie of the year because The Lobster was my favorite movie of 2016. This movie is weird because I loved it, but I had problems with it. I think that if I saw it again, it would not surprise me if it ended up being higher on my list, maybe even number 1. Just that initial viewing, even though I really liked it, I couldn't justify it putting it on my top 10 list because there were movies that, at least on the first or second viewing that I've seen the other top 10, I liked more. So we'll see. And my last honorable mention is Ghost Story, which I saw a few nights ago, and this movie is very unique and very interesting. I think it takes a little while to get into, but it has some really unique things to say and a very unique way of telling a story. Again, with Killing Sacred Deer, I think I might need to watch it again to really get a grip of what's going on and maybe be higher on my list. Okay, now it comes to the top 10. My number 10 is Logan Lucky, which came out in the summer, directed by Steven Soderbergh, and it's about a heist during a NASCAR race. And this movie is well directed, of course. It's by Steven Soderbergh, who directed every episode of The Knick, which is a review that will eventually be coming out.
Yes, it will, I promise.
But unlike The Knick, this movie is very funny. Steven Soderbergh, I know the writer is credited as like Emily something, but I know it's rumored that it's actually Steven Soderbergh who wrote it, since the woman has no other things on her IMDb page or at all. So I'm assuming Steven Soderbergh just wrote it under an alias. Again, this movie is very funny, and with a great cast, including Channing Tatum and Tanya Craig with a stand-up performance as a Southern man, even though in real life he's legitimately James Bond. So overall, it ended up being a really great and a really fun movie. My number 9 is Brawl in Cell Block 99, which was Vince Vaughn's stand-up performance of his career and one of the best performances of the year as a whole. It was directed by David Zaller, who made the really great movie, what's it called? The Western movie that I like? Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
It's a really great movie. I was looking forward to this movie a lot, and it lived up to all the hype that I had for it. Again, great performance by Vince Vaughn, and some really unique special effects, especially during the fight scenes that are brutal, but not overly brutal. Just a very well done movie. A very long movie, very great atmosphere. Probably the most atmospheric movie I've seen this year. My number 8 movie is Raw, which is by a French director whose name I do not know, and it is about a college student who is a vegetarian or a vegan. I think a vegan actually, and she has to eat meat for the first time during like a freshman senior hazing ritual, and she eats a goat's eye or something like that and tastes meat for the first time, only to find out that she is a cannibal. And this movie kind of covers the idea of the sexual awakening with this sort of animalistic side of her, and it's a very beautifully done movie. And again, it's a French movie, so it obviously has great cinematography, a great story, very unique way of telling it, and overall, I really enjoyed it. My number 7 movie is probably the most fun I had in a theater this year, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I know a lot of people had problems with the tone. I had no problems with it at all. This movie was a blast for me from beginning to end. It's just a non-stop thrill ride with insane amounts of violence, especially for a Disney movie. Great humor, great visuals, especially when they go to this Peter's father's world. And just another great continuation of the characters that we knew and loved from the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think this Guardians of the Galaxy 2 basically solidifies the Guardians of the Galaxy characters as my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe, and maybe even the superhero universes that have been put on the big screen. My number 6 is the movie that I thought was going to be my number 1 for a very long time. Well, at least after my initial viewing and the weeks after that. That's just going to say how great 2017 has been this year for film, and that is Okja, which was directed by the guy who made Snowpiercer and The Host, not the young adult novel adaptation Host, but the Korean film The Host. People have problems again with the tone of this movie, but when I watch a movie by this director, I kind of know that it kind of, even though it looks like it takes place in the real world, I always kind of detach it from the real world. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal gives one of the weirdest performances ever, but he pulls it off in my opinion. Again, this movie looked beautiful. I know that CGI was a little iffy with the Okja and her kind, but they're just scenes like when they're running through the mall, and then like the SJW team, not SJW team, the environmentalist team comes out with the umbrellas. They all open. It just looks really beautiful. A lot of really great practical effects in this movie, and this director has an eye for making unique visuals in film. And I always look forward to movies that he makes, and I hope that Netflix takes another movie by him, because I would want to see what else he does. My number 5 movie is War for the Planet of the Apes, which was directed by Matt Reeves, following up the very good Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Again, with this movie, I'm not... The fact that this movie is so high for me should be praised, because I notoriously do not like chimpanzees or monkeys. It's a pretty irrational hatred, if I can be totally honest with you, and yet I was rooting for Caesar and the apes throughout this whole movie. Again, with Okja, it's Matt Reeves makes every scene looks like a painting, and that's just a testament to how great he is at film. It's not obnoxious in any way. It's just him. Everything fits in this world, and again, great performances by the cast that has to play the apes, including Gollum, whose name I can't think of right now, the actor's name.
Sir Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis was fantastic, and obviously we need to give credit to the animators behind this movie, because these apes frankly look real, and there's no real uncanny valley that a lot of other movies have with the CGI characters. These apes just feel like they could exist in real life, and this movie has a fantastic ending in my opinion that like really gives the trilogy as a whole it really elevates the trilogy as a whole, instead of going for like some generic thing. They kind of go all the way with their messages, and I really appreciated that. My number 4 movie is Blade Runner 2049, and this movie is an absolute masterpiece, directed by Denis Villeneuve. It's a follow-up to Blade Runner, which was a movie I saw a few years ago, and I was like, I don't get it. It was really boring. Tyler and I, with some friends, watched the first Blade Runner mere hours before watching Blade Runner 2049. I saw it again with the mindset that this isn't an action movie. I loved it. Saw Blade Runner 2049. Loved that movie as well. Denis Villeneuve, there's nothing I can say about him that has not been said before. He knows what he's doing. He is one of the best directors working today, and that's basically undisputed. And again, Roger Deakins, great cinematography. Cast as a whole, great performances, a lot of unique shots, unique visuals, especially one with Ryan Gosling, his cyber girlfriend and prostitute, which was unique.
It's not PC, Matt.
It was
prostitute. You have to say women working for money.
It was unique. It was unique to say the least. And a great score. Tyler's favorite score of the year.
Oh, where I downloaded the entire album. Yeah.
And that was the end of it. So my number 3 movie is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and this is the follow-up to Martin McDonagh's 7 Psychopaths and In Bruges, and I was looking forward to this movie very much. Again, this is probably the most well-written movie of the year. Martin McDonagh is an Irishman, and yet he created this beyond believable Midwestern town that has characters that are all feel like they fit in. This is I could never write, as I said in our review, I could never write a story about a small Irish town. I would have no idea what I'm doing. This movie takes chances, and it just says something that this movie handles racism, but like not in an immature way. It was, oh, this is bad, this is good. He's not afraid to make morally gray characters, make morally gray situations, and to have redeeming arcs for characters that in today's society we would all view as being whatever pure evil is. And that's also shows that he has confidence in his actors. Again, Sam Rockwell is fantastic in this movie. So is Frances McDormand and Woody Harrelson. Everyone is great. Peter Dinklage is great for what little role he has. Get it, little.
High five. Yeah.
And this is definitely a must-see.
Pork
Again,
jokes.
Yeah, again, there's just this level of Mark McDowell's able to control you with his writing. There are scenes where other audience members laugh during scenes that should not have been laughed in, but just shows it wasn't like it was an awkward laugh, but it was more showing that Mark McDowell's able to manipulate the way you think rather than, oh, he didn't get the right tone here. It's just he is a genius, and I'm okay with him taking like 3 to 5 years to make a movie. So my number 2 movie is Wind River, and when I saw this, I was like, this is fantastic. This has probably the best ending to a movie I've seen since Calvary in regards to just like the somber, bittersweet sort of feeling. It's not overly dark. It's not like, oh, we did it, y'all.
Nice joke.
It's not like, oh, we caught the bad guys and everything is good again. This movie is powerful. It's written by Taylor Sheridan, who, as of right now, is 3 for 3.
And directed.
Yeah, and directed. He might be 3 for 4 though after Sicario 2 comes out.
Is he writing that?
He's writing it. Yes.
Ooh.
So we'll see how that goes. This again, great characters with Jeremy Renner and what's Osment?
Emily Osment.
Emily Osment. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
And
Emily Osment.
Yeah, whatever. Again, this movie was almost 2 hours long, but by the time it was over, I could have sworn it had only been like 30 to 45 minutes. This movie is just engaging from start to finish with good, realistic, gritty action scenes, but also with these great character moments that aren't just the cliche, oh, I'm the rugged guy who's lived here forever, and oh, I'm the new girl who has to adapt to the environment. It goes deeper than that. These characters are very fleshed out, and overall, it was a thrill to be part of. And my number 1 movie is a movie that when I think of 2017, I think of this movie because there's no question of when it came out.
I hate you.
Especially if you're from Switzerland or Austria, because it definitely came out in 2017 in those countries. And that is The Handmaiden, directed by the guy who directed Oldboy. This movie is, in my opinion, a masterpiece. It's 2.5 hours long. It's all in Korean or in Japanese, and
Racist.
The language, it's objective. It's only written.
Sexist.
And like I said, this movie does not feel its length. It's basically just a non-stop drama of just every scene has meaning, every scene has something engaging about it. Again, with Matt Reeves, every scene feels like a painting, feels like a well-crafted image that took time and effort. And with probably one of the best film soundtracks I've ever heard. I've actually listened to it like away from watching the movie. I've seen it twice just to make sure that I really felt the way I did, because I didn't want to be pretentious and be like, oh, my favorite movie is a Korean film. No, I genuinely feel this way. Second time I saw it, I liked it even more. Great performances by actresses and actors whose names I can't pronounce. And this movie kind of fell under people's radars, at least in like the U.S. The fact that it even got to the U.S. in the first place, it shows that it was probably a very big hit in South Korea, and it just covers a time period that is very little talked about in U.S. film, which is like Japan occupying Korea in the 20s or 30s, and it's just again not a lot of barely any action. It's just it's very well constructed, almost like a play with its acts, and it's going back telling stories, and I was just engaged throughout the whole entire length. And these are my top 10, technically top 13 movies of 2017. I hope everyone enjoyed it, those who watch it, which won't be very many because we're already midway through January. I hope that we can do more top 10s as time goes on. This is a great documentation of great movies that came out in 2017. So when I'm old and I'm senile, I'll go back to this video and say, oh, I remember those movies, but I really don't remember those movies because I'll be too old by then. Thank you, everyone.
That was really depressing. What an awful way to end a video.
But it's okay, because I'm young right now. Thank you, everyone thank you everyone for listening, and if you like what you've seen here, please subscribe and check out our other videos. We do a lot of Game of Thrones content, but we also do movie content. We'll do whatever people watch, which is mostly Game of Thrones stuff.
This is Game of Thrones, so
Yes.
expect a lot of Game of Thrones.
Thank you everyone, and hopefully you guys listen to us again. Bye.